but technically that's
working out a little bit. Well,
23 hours of the week. It's fine.
that is, I don't even know what to
Oh, no,
say about.
that was a couple weeks ago. I don't know if this week's bigger. Anyway, point is,
Uh,
you know,
yeah.
um, before we kind of get into this, how's your shoulder doing in general?
Yeah, it's I've been doing a whole lot, but
Well, yeah, I realized.
I did do a an upper body strength workout. What day was that? I can't remember. And I did some PT exercises and stretching, and I was able to actually get this one straight up for the first time since I broke it. So that was really
Wow,
exciting. Yeah.
that's
Was doing a lot of swimming, more swimming than normal before that.
mhm.
And I think the swimming is actually really helping
Yeah, something
getting
can
up that
be
range of motion again.
lovely.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll kind of talk about what I wrote down, and if any of it obviously needs to be modified, that's fine. For anyone watching later on, we can keep the plan the same. I'll still review it. So you can promptly ignore anything that maybe doesn't feel good on the shoulder. Um, and then we'll kind of just see how this all feels, basically.
Sounds
Um,
good.
yeah, feels just like an early morning, not in a bad way, just toothpicks and eyeballs, that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. Is
And I
your
don't have Meg
barista
here to
working yet?
yell at you and be like, hello, and then like eject you with energy. So this is what you get. So essentially we're gonna try something different. This is what I'll say this much for you and anyone else watching later on. We're gonna try something like a mild rotation in our deadlift. When I say mild, and I mean legitimately mild. So for anyone with rotation sensitivity, um, or picking things up when twisting is not good, don't. Okay. I'm not your doctor. So if that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Or start super, super light. But I think we've all deadlifting enough to know what that feels like. So we have 4 times through 6 cross body single leg deadlifts. Um, talk about what those are. Um, the rotation is like this. It's not a ton, but if that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just stick with a good old fashioned single leg deadlift. No need to cross the weight across your center line. And then so that's 6 per side. We're not going to alternate those. And then 8 push-ups with rotation. That's where I was asking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So maybe it's plank holds, or we can do any kind of PT exercise in between.
Okay.
But you can consider overall volume here. So we're looking at 4 times through. Right, that would have been 8 total, by the way. So 4 per side. But we can kind of find something that feels good there. But ultimately, push up with rotation is what is written for, I would say, rotation to general population. Um, and then 4 times through offset cossack squats. We've done these before. The cossack squats, Maxine, we'll just review them again. That's
Yeah.
not a problem. 3-point rows should be okay. I have a feeling because it's a lot of lat. So the shoulder's supported, but we're not doing a ton. We're staying in this plane. So
Yeah, that should be fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're not pressing or going overhead, but it's a pull, not a push. And then 10 tuck ups, or we could do dead bugs or some sort of ab piece. So kind of a few same skills. We're just adding a bit of complexity. Let's start first and foremost with your floor work. So can you grab that mat, Maxine? That's fine.
Oh, it's a mess.
Happens. I mean, our garages are not suitable to work out in, period.
Well, we turned this into a workout space during COVID, so it's usually fine, but there's just like extra stuff here.
No, our garage just have too much stuff in it.
That's true.
Like my grandma's stuff, my dad's stuff, my mom's stuff, my stuff, Nikki's stuff, and it just
Oh my God.
it's a lot. It's a lot. Starting with 10 cat cows.
That's probably more than 10.
Yeah, 10-ish. That's fine.
Tennis.
And it's close enough. I'll take it. Let's go into our bird dogs next. You could do arms and legs, Maxine, or just arms or just legs.
Okay.
Um, again, total of 10 reps. This one's a little easier to count. At least for me it is. The leg lift doesn't have to be huge. Okay, you're 10. We're the 90-90s. So you're gonna have that seat on your mat. Feet are, I don't know, hip shoulder width. Elbow legs off to one side. Want to do more than 10 of these? That's fine. Any of these sort of initial warm movements can be done with more than 10 reps. Once you have your 10 maxing, you can kind of either come to standing or kneeling or whatever feels best.
I'm back.
Bing! She pops up. Let's get the arm circles next. So these are one of those things where, for obviously, starting point can be a little bit lower in terms
Yeah.
of rotation. So starting down here, right, versus up here. Or if you need one at a time. One at a time is fine too. But this should all feel very, I don't know, therapeutic
Yeah.
or helpful, but not spicy. So we're gonna do 10 circles, thumbs up in one direction, and we'll repeat in the other direction. Yeah, I had a friend who just came back from like a work conference, and she's like, everyone is sick.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the first person that had COVID, had just come back from a conference in Chicago.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, a whole bunch of people got it there. So makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a little worried when I get to, well, anywhere. Like, how much masking am I? So I realize masking is for other people, not for me, right? And technically, it's
Yeah.
so I'm like, I can't mask all the time. It's just not humanly possible.
Oh,
Like where am I mitigating the risk the most?
yeah. Enclosed spaces. That's usually
Yeah.
what I think.
Well, it's also going to be at the tour, so it's going to be people everywhere, even if you're outside.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I guess.
It's like, I think it's just it's a risk I'm taking, which I
Yeah.
acknowledge, but
I
uh,
mean, if you're vaccinated, like you get the latest booster,
I
take
leave
care
on,
of yourself.
yeah, I
And
leave on. I don't know if the latest booster even does anything to this
who
particular.
knows? Yeah. Well, what's weird is like I just think COVID's a weird thing. Like when my daughter had it first, and obviously close contact, and we didn't quarantine, I never got it. And then my husband got it, and I didn't get it. When I did get it, I don't know how I got it. Oh, anyone that had it, it was really weird. I don't know. I think there's only so much you can do, and you
Yeah,
gotta
exactly.
live your life.
Yeah, I realize, and I'm lucky to be immunocompromised, but uh my grandma's 93, so
Oh wow. Yeah.
that's a genuine risk
Yeah.
there. So it doesn't have to be yes, my health is important, but it's not just my health, it's like the people I
Right.
see.
People around you. Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
whether it's like autoimmune diseases or if you just, you fall into these
Yeah.
categories of people that tend to have higher
Mhm.
risk factors. So that's my bigger concern. But at the meantime, I need to acknowledge as a risk that I'm taking.
Yeah. Well,
And
maybe you just, maybe you don't, can you not see her for a couple weeks when you get back? Like,
I mean, that's probably going to be, I might do that just in case, because I want to make
yeah.
sure I don't give her anything that
Right.
I
Right.
bring back, even if I'm just carrying it on my body.
Right.
So once we've done this direction, let's go ahead and do the opposite. So we've done one direction, let's do the
Yeah.
opposite. Yeah. And I realize I'm kneeling here, but if you can sweep the arms around without skimming your fingers on the floor, it's totally for a game. Um, you can also just kneel or stand. Uh, next one's forward and back. All passive. Cross, which Maxine's already doing, which is great. And then we'll finish off with the thumbs down if that feels
Okay.
like an option. If you keep does any, and most of these feel okay, right? On the,
Yeah. This thumbs down one, it's not that it hurt. It's just like I feel things, but it's fine.
that I'll speak for myself. The thumbs down has always been one that I felt,
Hmm.
even with healthy shoulders.
Yeah.
Because it's internal rotation of it's
Oh,
internal rotation of the shoulder.
yeah.
It's like posterior shoulder stuff.
Mm.
Um, so rotator cuff things.
Yeah.
So if you ever see the people doing like the band pull aparts like this,
Hmm.
it's that one.
Yeah. That's
That's
part of my PT. Yeah. And even still, like when I get out, it doesn't look good. Not painful though.
yeah, it's hard.
It's just, yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. That is
Yeah. Hard is
totally
fine.
that's a reasonable
Thanks.
response. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go ahead and just kind of practice our hinging, deadlifting. It's been a while, at least I know for you, Maxine, it's been a while. So do you remind me, do you have a kettlebell or dumbbells or
Yeah.
both?
I have both.
Lovely. I'm going to show you a drill that we can play with here.
Okay.
This is one of those things where you can do this without weight and you can do it with weight. So we'll talk about both.
Okay.
One is called a good morning,
Mhm.
which I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with by now. But this is where, oh, I see. This is why I put, this is my secret. I stack my computer on a big book. But
Nice.
I was like, why am I so low to the ground? There it is. Okay. So when we're doing this, also great cookbook, by the way, highly recommend. Hands behind the head or chest up. So it could be here. If you don't, it could be by your hips if it's feeling a little hard on the shoulders. And we're gonna just unlock the knees. My hips go back, right? And I come back up. So it's just the hip moving backwards.
Yep.
If we're looking for weight, right, or input, a kettlebell I think is more convenient. I'm gonna put the base of the kettlebell. This is 18 pounds, so I say for me a comfortable weight on the base of my sternum. I'm kind of holding the body of the kettlebell, and my shoulders are down. Right, this is one of those things where it's a matter of comfort. Feet are going to be hip shoulder width again. My hips still go back, but now I'm holding the kettlebell on my chest, my sternum. As I go down, I breathe in into my point of compression on the kettlebell. Exhale as I come back up. Right. So this is just a way to add a little bit of load to this. How heavy is your kettlebell?
20
20.
pounds.
Does that feel okay?
Yep.
Great. So let's just do 10 of those. Either the unweighted version. So you can think of, Maxine, as you're going to go the base of the bell, the part that touches the ground.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be like touching your body.
Okay. Like under your boobs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Under your, so for me, it's about the base of my sternum, right?
Okay.
But yeah, definitely under the boobs for sure. And this is just like I'm holding it. And so it's nice because when I go down and I breathe in, I have something to breathe in too.
Yeah.
Right. It's not quite a weight belt, but it's a similar principle of a weight belt. Yeah. So let's just kind of, we're just practicing sitting your hips back. If you like touching a wall, or you have the option to touch a wall, you can do that. Gives you a tactile feedback.
But
Reaching back.
breathing into the kettlebell, that's helpful.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, like I said, it's the same principle as a weight belt. So if you've ever seen weightlifters in powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting
Yeah.
or any lifting, you'll see people put on these belts. And it looks like it looks like from the outside in, it looks like people are using it to hold themselves up. But
Yeah.
what it should be doing, the function of weight belt is to give you a tactile thing to breathe into instead of like less corsety and hold up and more like I'm breathing into the belt. I'm bracing into the belt
Yeah.
versus the belt's holding me up because I can't hold my.
Okay. That makes sense.
So when you're lifting 95% of your going to max and you are, using everything you have just a little extra input. So similar principle, you don't need a weight belt. And it's also really close to the torso. So for anyone afraid of deadlifting, this is a nice, fully controlled motion for a lot of people. So I quite like it.
Yeah.
So the next thing we have is let's cover our single leg deadlift, the crossbody version, or the regular version anyway. So regular version is going to be, right, feet are hip shoulder width. My feet can be on or off the ground as I lean back. I'm going to go this left hip. I'm going to go ahead and send this hip back. This knee bends because I'm sending it back. I lift, right, and I stand back up. If I want to keep the foot down, I do the same thing, but it's about my hip, not my shoulders.
Yeah.
As you can only see, you get the idea. Hips, not shoulders. So it's about this joint, not about that joint, right? So either way, it's not super critical here, but I don't want you to feel like you're tipping forward, chest only. Let's do 6 reps unweighted first, and we'll talk about what this looks like from a rotational perspective.
Okay.
Of course, you can add weight later on if anyone wants to practice. Hopefully you're feeling your hamstrings, the back of your legs, maybe your butt a little bit.
Yep.
All good things.
Yep.
So in terms of the cross body part, right? I'm going to show you kind of my hips and down here. We typically grab, depends on who you are really. But if I'm doing this leg for my standing leg, I typically grab opposite. If you like this one, That's fine. But in this case, we're going to go opposite for the grip because when I come down, bring myself in here, instead of coming down this way, I'm going to come down this way. So basically I drew a line down the middle of my body. So past my logo, the kettlebell's going to cross that center line just a little bit.
Okay.
Now this may or may not touch the ground. That's not important. But from the front, instead of being here, I'm going to be here. The
Got it.
rotation is not huge. I haven't shifted any extra, I haven't shifted at all. My knees in the same position. So it's just over my foot.
Okay.
Some people do end up touching the ground. That's fine if you do. I'm not quite there. Same thing on the opposite side. It would be here, here. So it's kind of, we're biasing that lateral, that side of your butt and hip on that side. So the rotation is just, I'm just shifting the weight over. I'm not rotating.
Yeah. You're
That.
still kind of keeping your hips square, I
Hips are
guess.
still square.
Square. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I honestly imagine if you saw a robot trying to twist. It's rigid, right? It's
Yeah.
not a fluid rotation.
Yeah.
And let's try 6 reps per leg. If you want to lift up that back leg, you certainly can. Again. And just all you want to do, Maxine, is cross your center line. So whatever you think logo, if you're, at a line, tattooed the middle, just across that. Nothing more. And again, if this is to you and anybody else, if this is feeling too, I would say, complicated or sensitized without being watched, then let's have a conversation and we can try and figure it out.
Yeah, that feels okay.
Yeah, and think of this as more of a Romanian deadlift than
Deadlift.
touching the ground per se.
Yeah.
Especially with the weights over your toes. Kettlebell, I mean, the dumbbell works exactly the same. Or just carrying a different object, basically. So the next piece is a push-up with rotation. Whether or not this is going to be something you participate in, that's okay. But the rotation part, so if the push-up is down, right? Down. The rotation, you can't see my hand, but it's over my shoulder. Okay. That's 1. I'm gonna repeat that. Alternating for 8. If push-ups feel okay, Maxine, you have tried push-ups?
Yeah, we're gonna give it a go. I always try.
If you want to start with push-ups elevated, maybe not rotation.
Let's try that with knees and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Any percent, sorry.
Okay.
Ready? What are we doing?
So there's a total of 8 reps here. If you need to do less than 8, that's fine.
Okay.
Honestly, at the top of the rotation, you can think of, right? The goal is to think of having a bit like a side plank. Say a bit. Yeah. Obviously, that rotation is going to vary side to side. So it is okay if you find if that's different. So don't need to, broken shoulder or not, we do not need to push into anything that feels excessive.
All right. Not pretty, but done.
Great. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll do that 3 more times.
Okay.
Maybe do the push-ups only a total of 3 times.
Okay.
But we'll do the crossbody deadlifts. And it occurred to me, you know what? I would say if you want to try lifting the leg, Maxine, you're welcome to. I think sometimes that can be helpful on the deadlift. I'd say everyone who does this, try this with both styles, right? So instead of having the foot down and you can't see my feet, lifting up the foot and see if you like it. I think sometimes too, the balance element, the balance element keeps that rotation to a minimum. If your foot is up and you rotate the hip, right? You're falling over. So I think balance by lifting the back foot, potentially, it can keep you honest about how you're shifting your weight,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I like the feet down too, but if you find that,
No, I feel that. You can, I don't know, I don't know if it's easier, but it just feels like a more, maybe it's a more fluid.
it's fluid and more balanced, because if the foot
Yeah.
stays down, you can rotate pretty independently.
Yeah.
If the foot comes up, your foot is more like a bit of a pendulum. It's like your
Mm.
head and your foot are like kind of the one piece, and they're kind of moving to balance you. Even if your foot isn't that far off the ground. So I'd say I encourage anyone who doesn't really lift their feet, try this with the foot lifted. Um, and you can lift your foot without weight first, or very lightweight. Your only option is like a 53-pound kettlebell, though, maybe we find something else.
Yeah, it's actually, you can really get a lot out of it without weight too. I mean, it's,
Exactly. This is one of those things where if this is a not a, it's a bit like doing the curtsy lunges,
yeah.
right? There's a mild rotation. You're crossing that center plane. But I mean, the fact is, I'm gonna guess most people watching this swim. Um,
It's a good assumption.
right, that's a safe assumption, and or rotate in their day-to-day life. So, um, it's one of those, can we do it safely? Lovely. As long as they don't have to push us on the pretty, Maxine, as long as they feel strong and good. That's all
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. Nice job. Yeah, if you're doing this at home and you need to look in the mirror, just you're trying to keep things over that opposite foot maximum. This is round 3 for you, Maxine, on the push-ups, and this will be,
Yeah.
we'll keep it as the last round of push-ups. We'll do one more set of crossbody deadlifts. For everyone else, goal is to do 4 total rounds. Lovely. Did anyone else get sick at home, or was that just you?
No, just me.
Hmm. Well, I guess that's
Good.
good. I mean, it's good that no one else did.
Yeah.
And you're able to just, you know, be sick by yourself.
Yeah.
I have a client who has a 1-year-old,
Oh.
and I asked her how she was doing. She's like, yep, just getting over the baby cold.
Oh, there's so many at that age.
Well, right, exactly. And like, of course, he gave her a kiss on the cheek, and then
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and you're like blowing raspberries, and you're like, I can't tell my 1-year-old not to.
No. Yep.
Can't be
Exactly.
like, no, that's
There's
gross.
no boundaries. Space is not your own.
No, but he's very cute, and she's like, we're fine. We just had to just to get over it, basically.
I had so many colds and strep throat and sinus infections when
Heard that. At what age does that start to
that
dwindle?
was around, I think that was around 2 when I started getting like, cause that's when she started preschool.
Yeah.
So, she was around a bunch of kids and, she would occasionally get sick, but it seems like I picked up everything. But I
Well,
wasn't taking that great a care of myself back then. So,
you probably were a little bit busy.
yeah,
Um, and I think honestly, how old's your daughter?
12 and a half.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even within the last 10 years, the mentality around parenthood
Mhm.
and being a caretaker for anyone has shifted a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so the caretaker is no longer just a character in the patient's
Mm,
world. It's like, no, the caretaker is its own person, right?
yeah.
But that 10 years ago,
Not so much.
not
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
I think with I think this re-advent of mental health and
Mhm.
particularly people in healthcare, but who take care of other people in a lot of respects. It's like, no, you have to bring that, flip the mirror around and look in the mirror. But
Yeah.
it's
That's, yeah, you're right. That really wasn't,
10 years ago.
yeah.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
it's not a thing.
No.
Um, in fact, you'd be considered a quote bad parent if you didn't do certain things.
True. Yeah.
Still the case, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It'll be fine. You survived. She'll survive.
Exactly. We all made it through.
Perfect. So let's talk about our offset cossack squats.
Okay.
Default, let's talk about the cossack squat first. I think that's kind of prudent, right? So the cossack squat is this kind of lateral squatting shape. So when I'm in my um kind of, I would say, wider stance, so whether you're toed out or forward is not super critical. It's a matter of taste. I want the knee just to follow the foot. So whatever your foot does, just let the knee follow. And I'm going to go ahead and shift side to side. So I'm going to squat to my right leg, right? We're going non-alternating here. So when we're doing this, we're going to stay on one leg. This foot can turn up if you like that. Fine. But from the side angle, this should look like my squat. So if I'm cossack squatting, this should look like I'm squatting,
Okay.
right? That's the point. Your depth might vary, as in much, much lower than normal. That is the case for myself. The offset part of this whole thing is going to be your weight again. So instead of just carrying the weight at your chest or next to your body, it's going to be on the opposite side. I'm going to just do my left, so for the sake of balance here. So if I'm squatting on my left leg, I'm going to hold the weight on my right. So I'm going to go ahead and now, so I'm squatting on this leg. I'm going to go ahead and here. So that again, my foot can come up or not. And we're going to be doing what I write down.
Okay.
10 per side. All right. Again, unweighted is fine. If weight feels like a terrible idea, don't. Okay. 10 offset cossack squats per side. If you have the option for weight choices, lovely. Movement 2, you're already pretty familiar with this one by now, just as a heads up, right? So you have offset cossack squats, 10 per side. Bent over rows or 3-point rows, hand on the knee or something in front of you. Right, 10 here. I'm stopping the elbow just at my torso, and I feel this squeeze in my armpit, so I'm not shrugging up. I'm pulling back, right? If your weight's really light, hold that for 2 or 3 seconds. Come back down. If it's super heavy, don't. And then our tuck ups. So we can do tuck ups or dead bugs. So tuck ups are going to be laying down, coming to like a tuck position. If we need to, we could just default to dead bugs. I don't know, right? if you feel like that's too big. We're gonna alternate. So this other option is gonna be right hand, left foot, touch. Right, left hand, right foot. Right. So on and so forth. If you're doing alternating, we're doing 10 total.
Yeah.
Great. So let's start with those offset cossack squats. And you're welcome to adjust the weights as you're getting more comfortable with this as well. So play with it. Start light if you have the option. And then progressively across 4 sets. So think of it as kind of like a lateral squat, right, as opposed to a lateral deadlift, which is what we've been doing. When you switch legs, you're also going to switch hands. So leg you're squatting to is the opposite of the hand, opposite side of the hands is carrying weighted. I will say if you've cossack squats for a period are hard enough, just stick with those.
Those
There's
are
good
good.
complementing. Yeah. If at any point, Max, you need to change those up, you can change those up for a different thing.
I like them.
Yeah. Usually these are pretty, once the shoulder's reconstructed and it's back, usually pretty solid.
Yeah, rows have been fine.
Yeah.
It's really just, it's putting the pressure, like any kind of push-ups or planks where I'm just on that. That's a lot. And then, yeah, going overhead.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of thing is fine.
How is it riding in your TT position then?
It's
Just
okay. Yeah, I think because it's protected like this,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I can imagine that could be problematic if your skis aren't fit correctly.
Yeah.
Like if you're at the wrong
Hmm.
shoulder.
Yeah, like I think if I was because I'm in here,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's fine. It's
that's good.
I mean sometimes just like down in the base bar, whatever, that can start hurting.
That's more planky.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically a plank.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Doug looks or
Uh,
thingies. Thingy things.
the little tuck ups. Yeah.
Tuck ups.
I imagine like I'm like a human accordion. I just like wink, I come together, I lay it back down. Come together, lay it back down. If this starts to be like neck or shoulder intensive, for some people, like lifting up the head that long can be really hard. This is about lifting up the chest, not the foot. So if that's something you struggle with, dead bugs are a perfectly fine substitution. I think they're highly, highly underrated as a movement. Caffeine's kicking in, Maxine. I'm feeling better.
What's that?
Caffeine's kicking in.
Yes. She's
I'm
coming
so glad.
alive. Is
I
your
know.
barista awake now?
I mean, yeah, mostly.
Mostly.
I'll give it 80%.
Okay.
You know, there's still some like sleep fog. I
Yeah.
woke up in the middle of a weird dream.
Oh, that's yeah.
And you know how you do like the reality check thing where you're like, okay, there's my cat. Here are these touch points that of reality for me. And I'm like, so that wasn't real. Good.
Yeah.
like like wasn't a bad dream. It was just like dis ugh, just maybe
Yeah.
like
You ever like when you're in a dream, realize it's a dream and you try and wake yourself up?
You know, if I do, I don't recall.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who I know some people who like will write down their dreams to try
Uh,
and, you know,
yeah.
elongate that window of remembering
Yeah.
um, what they dreamed about. But no, no, I don't do that. I don't get them very often, so it's not usually an issue. I do have to wonder how much Meg is going to edit out of this.
Get that these are recorded and other people are gonna listen.
Yeah. I mean, people can join in our conversation. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Maybe talking themselves, but it's great. Big fan. This is round number, you're on 2, right?
Uh yes, too.
Yeah, this should, yeah, okay. I can coach or I can count, and I tend to coach because I can't do both things at the same time, sadly. Lovely. How are the offset cossack squats feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like with my tri bike, uh I use my adductors a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And those were really sore and tight to begin with. Now I feel like they've gotten stronger. I'm feeling it a lot there in a good way. Like I'm using them.
Yeah, if your adductors are tight, that's you're gonna feel them on this just because
Yeah.
of the nature of the stance being wider. So as you shift one direction or the other, you're
Okay.
lengthening one adductor and shortening the other,
Okay.
right? Um, the other place you might feel this is potentially, I mean, you know, the leg in general is fine, but like
Yeah.
that curtsy squat, that kind of the glute that you're leaning on,
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
that I would say solidly like lateral hip slash butt piece. Um, so we're just basically adding load to that directional change.
Yeah.
Um, but I like having it in the opposite hand of my standing leg because it keeps I say non-working side engaged too. So if I
Mhm.
had it on the same leg, I think that would be too tippy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, I like those.
But yeah, a good old fashioned Cossack squat is also fine. We did them a week ago, recently.
Okay.
Um, so they should hopefully feel like a familiar movement for some returning customers. Excellent. How are the tuck ups feeling?
Good.
Okay.
You know, it's
As good as they can feel.
good.
No one likes them. should say for anyone feeling extra fancy and or tuck ups are just far too easy, make them be ups if you want.
Four rounds?
4.
Okay.
Yes. So this should be
Last one.
last one. It was, I can't see your feet, Maxine, so I'm just gonna assume your feet are flat when you do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, the leg you're squatting to is flat, right?
Yes.
Cool.
I know, sorry, I don't have a good way of.
No, it's totally fine. I just want to, it's interesting. I think I find with when we're squatting with 2 feet, even like the split squats we do with did all that stuff, people are pretty good about keeping their feet flat, right?
Yeah.
Or down, heels down. Whereas often I feel like with the lateral movement, people are less aware. I think it's less familiar. And I find that people tend to lead with the knee. Heel comes up, lead with the knee
Uh,
more. This one, just I would say anecdotally, like when I've taught a cossack or a lateral squatting position, the knee
yeah.
or moves forward more often on this one.
Huh.
So I think it's just unfamiliar shapes. So I wanted to make sure that wasn't happening
Nope.
because the knees get very cranky if we haven't practiced that,
Yeah.
basically. Although I have been, it's interesting, a lot of bike specific strength work will actually have you on the ball of your foot, which kind
Oh,
of makes sense because I know a lot of cleat positioning is more forefoot now, or like, sorry,
yeah.
midfoot, but it's still ball of the foot adjacent. So like, can you stabilize and pressurize through the ball of your foot?
Oh, interesting.
Depending on, of course, your cleat position, but the principle remains the same. You're not pushing through your whole foot on a bike. You're pushing through.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing like Palov presses with, my foot elevated on a thing because that's how you're stabilizing your foot is through the
Yeah.
ball of your foot. Whereas in the principle here is, yes, we want to get your running and swimming and biking.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Sport in general, you want to use a whole foot because you can.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's,
interesting.
yeah, like it's,
Thanks.
yeah, it's been interesting to kind of see the specificity. I mean, a lot of the stability stuff applies to everybody.
Yeah.
The ball to foot specific work, I'm like, honestly, never considered that before.
Yeah.
But I can also imagine that applying to running uphill specifically. You have to stabilize the ball of your foot. So fascinating nonetheless. Last set of tuck ups.
Done.
Done. Um, Good work today. I'm glad you showed up because
Yeah.
I don't know how to talk to an empty screen. I have asked Meg about that, been like, what if no one shows up? She's like, well, I don't know how to talk to no one.
Just pretend.
I can't pretend that if no one's like, I need at least even behind the screen to,
Yeah.
like
Something.
something.
You know. So
Um,
you're off. When do you leave this weekend?
it's Sunday.
Wow. Okay.
So, um, yeah, I'm trying to, well, Monday was a crazy day. So now that it's done, I say crazy, just long.
Yeah.
So now I have a bit of breathing room. The thing is, I'm wearing all the cycling kit I'm bringing, so I can't pack it until Saturday.
All right.
I'm like, oh, I guess they have to wait.
Yeah.
But
And then are you taking bikes or do they have bikes there for
no,
you?
this time I'm not. A week-long trip is not quite long enough to warrant packing up my bike.
Yeah.
Also, I think the bike box that Nikki has won't work for my bike. I forgot
Mhm.
why we talked about this. I can't remember what it
Yeah.
was. Um,
Yeah, because they're arrow boxes.
Arrow attachments, and I have drop bars and something. And
Yeah.
I on either way, we're talking about getting a second bike box because we can't travel together with two bikes at this point.
Yeah.
One at a time. So
Yeah.
this will be. Luckily, I've done a trip with Trek before, so I know
Okay.
it's the same bike, same model.
That's nice.
And I gave them my numbers, and whatever they did adjacently was fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
My question, actually could probably ask Meg this, is do I bring, I've been riding on road pedals because I ride road bikes. Um,
Mhm.
but last trip I did, we did a lot of like on and off bike stuff. So like you get off the bike, sometimes you walk around and destroy my cleats, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like, did I just go like gravel, like
Mhm.
the SBDs?
Yeah.
My only concern with that is the contact patch is smaller. So on long, hard climbs, do I want a small, hard contact patch
Right.
for
Right.
walking? Or do I want a larger contact patch?
Yeah. For the writing. Yeah.
Right, and like and weird walking. Like it's like there's no
Yeah.
like what am I biasing here? And I don't know if this trip's gonna be any different in terms of the amount of like on-off bike work. So like anyway, just things I'm thinking about. But definitely gonna bring my
Yeah.
own. Bringing my saddle. I'm bringing pedals and shoes, and I'm bringing my own helmet because